now exclusively on ESPN Plus. Sign up now at ESPNplus.com. So, Jay, are
Max.
Westbrook and the Lakers about a split? The way Westbrook split with his agent over that very subject. His agent, who I was told the last name is pronounced Fouché. Now, if Tim Bontemps is putting me on, it's the greatest prank he could possibly play on me. If I wind up calling, I thought it was Foucher. I just read Foucher. I just didn't know it was a French pronunciation.
Don't worry, Max. A lot of people have been calling him Foucher for a long time. You're fine.
I hope Tim is putting me on because that would be hilarious. His statement on the split with Westbrook, this is Russell's agent. I represented Russell Westbrook for 14 years. I'm proud of our partnership, which included a highly successful 2008 draft, a supermax contract, and the only renegotiation and extend max contract in history. I also supported Russell through his rise into a prominent fashion industry and recently orchestrated 3 successive trades on Russell's behalf, culminating with his trade to his hometown Los Angeles Lakers. Now, here's what's important, okay? That's all, hype propaganda for the agent, right? Here's what's important. Jay, this spoke to me. Quote, each time, talking about the trades, remember, 3 successive trades on Russell's behalf. Each time, teams gave up valuable players and assets to acquire Russell. And each time, a new organization embraced his arrival. We did it together with grace and class. Quote, now with a possibility of a 4th trade in 4 years, the marketplace is telling the Lakers they must add additional value with Russell in any trade scenario. And even then, such a trade may require Russell to immediately move on from the new team via buyout. My belief is that this type of transaction only serves to diminish Russell's value, and his best option is to stay with the Lakers, embrace a starting role, and support what Darvin Ham publicly offered. Russell is a first-ballot Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer and will prove that again before he is retired. Unfortunately, irreconcilable differences exist as to his best pathway forward, and we are no longer working together. I wish Russell and his family the very best. It's at least implicit, maybe explicit here, Jay, that you don't even have to infer. He is saying, the agent here, I said, Russ, don't look for a trade. Look what the marketplace is telling you. You are very valuable. All the teams had to give up a lot of stuff to get you. Now they have to give up stuff to move you. And then they're going to buy you out, maybe. It reminds me in its way, Jay, of Moneyball, the book and the movie about the Oakland A's and Billy Beane, who was like the first GM in baseball, who was like, hey, let me not be stupid. I'll be smart, right? Like, let's look at the numbers that makes everyone, you can't look at numbers. He's like, the whole sport, you look at numbers, dummies. And he was first place in a division every year with no money, right? Because he was like one of 2 or 3 smart GMs in the sport back then. At any rate, he acquired David Justice. Remember David Justice, big slugger out of Atlanta originally? Married to Halle Berry. So, and there was a scene in the movie, I don't remember it in the book, but I know that this is more or less what happened, where David Justice is being this and that. He's like, thinks of himself as a star still, right? And someone, then Billy Beane went to him and like, dude, I got you for pennies on the dollar. Why do you think that is? You embrace the role that you're in now. And David Justice did, to his credit, right? So Russell Westbrook's agent is telling him something similar here. Russ, you want another trade? You want to show the marketplace that you have negative value because they're going to have to attach some stuff to move you? Or you want to stay where you are and reestablish your value? I get it, Jay.
Well, I mean, Max, this is a roller coaster ride. There's been a lot going on. Obviously, scenes of Russ and LeBron James at a Summer League game where they supposedly didn't talk to each other. Then you hear reports last night from Chris Haynes pretty much saying that him, AD, and LeBron have all had a conversation before Summer League started about them being willing to make it work more than anything and how they're going to navigate through that. And then for Thad, who is Russell Westbrook's agent, who is, you hear great things about Thad and his reputation around the league. For him to come out and say this almost in a way to save himself and his own reputation, it just, man, look, I don't think the Lakers are going to have any choice but to run this back. And I know that for Lakers fans, they want to hear about Kyrie Irving and they want that trade to happen. But I, first off, don't see Russ and KD being on the same team, considering what they've been through in OKC and how that imploded within itself. And then secondly, you don't have any choice. He opted into a massive deal. Now, I know, Max, you're going to say, well, that can come off your books. But still, what that does to your team, for a young team, do you want that around young players? Same reason with Kyrie to a degree. And as you relate to the Lakers here, when it's all said and done, when you hear about irreconcilable differences here from a long-withstanding agent who has been able to make trades happen. I mean, 3 teams in 3 years. Now we're talking about 4 teams in 4 years for a guy who is a Hall of Famer, who is Mr. Triple-Double. At the end of the day, LeBron, AD, and Russ are going to have to find some way with Darvin Ham, Rasheed Wallace, and this new staff to make this happen.
Any Seth Currys in there? Because any Joe Harris's? Because they could use it. Here's the thing. What's crazy to me about what's going on with the Nets and with the Lakers. There's a really good chance that everyone winds up where they are, right?
Yes.
Like that is a possibility. Wouldn't it be funny if when these teams were put together and there were all these high hopes and that didn't happen and it looked like a disaster, if circumstances conspired to keep them together when they wanted to break apart and they wound up actually meeting each other in the finals? Like, that universe does, that possibility is not that far-fetched, more from the Lakers' point of view because they need shooters. But from Brooklyn's point of view, maybe a little, like, if they just bring that team back and those guys get on the court together, it could be a problem.
Max, what's that line? Fool me once, shame on me.
You, fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, I'm not putting the Lakers in the Nets in the NBA Finals. I did that last year.
Of course, what I'm suggesting is what I'm suggesting is against the odds, and like people would laugh. But what I'm saying is it's not quite as laughable as you think if you really consider it. If the Lakers get some shooting, if the Lakers can simply stay healthy, and by healthy I mean LeBron and AD play at least 60 games each, right?
Yeah. AD, you're asking AD. LeBron, for the most part, has been healthy.
But at his age, he's had some injuries recently. If those two guys both play 60-plus games, and Westbrook does buy in, and they pick up a couple of guys who can simply shoot the ball, the Lakers could be a whole lot for teams.
Well, Max, there are guys. Everybody talks about, this past weekend. I haven't been here. The DeAndre Ayton trade, right? That offer sheet he got from Indiana for $133 million. That then Phoenix, within Woj reported 3 minutes, pretty much matched, right? Which was interesting because it kind of soured the market from the Phoenix perspective on the Kevin Durant move. Mm-hmm. But if you're Indiana, it showed that, hey, look, we're willing to make moves. We're willing to put things out there for a guy in Miles Turner, and we want to go after a guy. So it goes back to me for a guy like Buddy Hield, who is one of the original names that we had talked about here on this show, KJM, as